Hey, real quick, I'd like to talk to you about how the Fed's recent interest rate hike is going to affect the Victorville real estate market. My name's Dave Rupp, also known as Dr. Hot Rod the Realtor. I'm a real estate agent for Exp Realty in Southern California. First off, in case you didn't know, the Fed's recent interest rate hike puts it at the highest level in 22 years. So what we're going to talk about here is how that interest rate hike affects the Victorville market, what we can expect interest rates to be like in the future, what we can expect housing values to do as a result, whether they're going to go down, go up, what we can expect the inventory to be like. Are we going to be making multiple offers for the same property? Are we going to have people fighting over the same property because inventory is so low, or is inventory going to increase and it's going to become a buyer's market and sellers are going to be waiting and waiting and waiting to sell their property? So we'll discuss all these possibilities and the effect again of that interest rate hike. Also worth noting, the Fed did use verbiage that indicates that they would likely raise interest rates another 1 or 2 times still this year. Now, one thing to understand is what the Fed is doing with raising interest rates is they are trying to combat inflation. What we've seen in the last 12 months is inflation drop from over 9% inflation to 3% inflation as of June in 2023. So you might be wondering, why are they still raising the interest rate? Why are they threatening to? Simply because their goal is to get the inflation number down to 2% and have it be steady. If it hits 2%, that doesn't mean they won't quit raising rates, because they still want it to be stable at 2%. But that being said, keep in mind we do have 12 months of continuous decreasing in the rate of inflation. So that's good. Historically, when the inflation goes down, the interest rates will follow. Inflation is the leader. Inflation starts going up, then the Fed will raise interest rates to combat inflation. Inflation can fluctuate typically more than interest rates. So you could have a spike in inflation and interest rates not respond at all. Either way, spike up, spike down. Currently, lenders are failing to offer rate sheets with 0-point loans. That means they're charging money for every loan that they make. The reason they're doing that is because the lenders know, based on statistical data, history, they know that there's a great likelihood that interest rates are going to decrease. And if they make a brand new loan and don't charge points on it, and then you refi the house because your interest rate went down, they're not going to make any money on the loan. So they're front loading the loans right now with fees so that if you refinance in 2 years, they're still going to make some money on the loan. That's the biggest indicator, I think, right now, next to the fact that inflation has dropped for the 12 months in a row, that we are going to see interest rates drop. Most economists are expecting by next summer we should see interest rates down in the mid to high 5s. So what we expect completely to happen is, as soon as the interest rate gets to the point where people who are sitting on the fence decide to get off the fence and get in gear and try to move, these people that have been waiting because the interest rate was too high, make their payment too high, they just don't feel good about paying 7% when they've already been paying 3% on their existing note. As soon as those people decide that, hey, the rates come down, I've waited long enough, I'm going, and that starts happening, we expect to fully see that the environment's going to go back to what it was like in 2020, September or so, where you start getting multiple offers, you start getting prices rise quickly, because we still have a very limited inventory. And the world revolves around supply and demand. So if we have a very little supply, and right now the demand is kind of low, okay, that's holding prices steady. What happens when those people get off the fence and that demand goes up and there's still only a limited supply? That's what's going to trigger house prices to increase. That's what's going to trigger people to start having to make multiple offers, having to pull off the contingencies, having to shorten the escrow times, having to increase down payments, or do something to sweeten their position as a buyer because you're competing with 5 or so other offers. To summarize, we have 12 months of data showing us that inflation is on the way down. As long as that continues and nothing disrupts it and it doesn't turn around and start going back up, then we can fully expect that the interest rates will follow. House prices are going to start going up. People are going to start shopping. There won't be anything to buy. So you'll be back in the multiple offer situations. Expect it by next summer.